And here we are, moving the transition over to the live preview. Everybody, here we are again, episode 21, the Canadian Bro Show. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show. This is the second iteration of the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, the two handsome chaps right in front of you, Pauly, as we like to say, and Rolly.
I never
And
say it.
you never say it, but I used to say it incorrectly because I always thought it was Rowley.
I've never said
he's
Pauly in my life ever.
well, no, you should though because it's got a nice catch to it.
I have way better names for you than Pauly.
Oh, but you can't really. It's not really a children's show; it's an adult show.
Those are totally appropriate words.
And because of your potty mouth, I'm worried about us getting.
Dude, you have sworn more than me since we started this. So,
I
would also
honestly,
like.
if I might just have a little defensive action over here, I rarely ever swear.
There it is. Yeah, one.
What?
You just said the F word.
No, I did. I said flucking.
It doesn't sound like that.
Well, I mean, I just because of my British way of swearing, I can't help the fact that your hearing is going in one ear.
Yeah.
But
so
hey,
let
me finish the intro. Episode 21 is March Madness Final Four. We are also continuing on the road to the NBA playoffs and the NBA Yahoo Fantasy Basketball Playoffs, of which we're going to talk about all those things, and March Madness, both female and male. I'd like to welcome my partner in crime and good friend of over 40 years, Mr. Trent Rowley. How you doing, Trent?
I'm doing great.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
We don't normally film on a Monday, but we find it's easier with our schedules, and more importantly, the schedules of the wonky NBA, the fantasy, because of it.
Perfect. I think it's been perfect, actually, that we switched to Mondays and been more regular. I actually enjoying the afternoons. It's been really good.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff goes on, right?
So. Me too, and I agree. And we're at episode 21, so we're really just 1 week away from the NBA's 22nd week, going into the 23rd week. So we've been very fortunate to keep up. We lost a couple of episodes due to technical issues, of which we made up. And I think we've done a very good job keeping up with the NBA and being relevant and growing our channel every week. It's 7 to 10% increase. And we're getting, we're getting people to talk a little bit more, leave comments, and that's always helpful because whether it's positive or negative, we appreciate the feedback. We appreciate if you want to subscribe, if you want to like, if you want to hit that notification button and you really like the content, it's free. We hope to be able to do this for quite some time.
Free.
It is free for now.
It's free, people.
It is free and very educational. And I mean, seriously, who could not look at Trent for the better part of an hour and not enjoy the visual masterpiece?
Have a smile on your face.
That unfolds throughout the entire hour and 10 minutes. It's quite remarkable. And then, of course, if you want to see the gun show, I'll lay it on every once in a while.
Holy.
I know. I was working out. I just did 12K and I'm feeling juiced, man.
All right, let's go then.
Yeah. So Trent, what's new is I'm in Vancouver until I'm not, which will be probably next week. I'm heading back to Kelowna. The wife and I were heading back. We're going to got to take care of my listing up at Silver Star, and it's still snow up there. So we're going to go up and snowshoe and hang out on a couple of weekends and start doing the weekend work for the house. And speaking of snow, you got dumped on in St. Paul, Alberta last night, right? Was it heavy duty or what?
A couple of days ago, 4 days ago, we got it for like almost 3 straight days of it just snowing.
Wow.
Just a steady snow.
So in terms of like inches, what are we talking about? Like a foot?
Yeah. By the time it was said and done, probably a foot, a little bit more.
Wow. That's crazy.
So I shoveled like a couple each day. I was shoveling like 2 or 3 times a day just to make it easy. So plus I get the dog out there and throw his frisbee while I shovel at least once, and it killed 2 birds with 1 stone. He's all gassed, and I don't have to worry about him the rest of the day. He just wants to hang out. So. But yeah, no more of that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So Trent, let's start on the March Madness. We went from the Sweet 16 to the
Elite
the Elite Eight, and now we're down to the Final Four for the men.
Yep.
But let's start off with the women. Apparently, there's two more games this afternoon.
2 games this tonight, 5 p.m. my time, so 4 p.m. your time, is TCU in Texas. That should be a great game. Like,
Why?
that's
Why would that be a great game,
well,
Trent?
Texas, well, state of Texas for one,
Yeah,
right?
great.
So
Yeah,
rivalry there.
sure.
Booker, the main girl for that wears 35, she wears Kevin Durant's number when he went to Texas. She was at Louisville at 3 years ago, or not Louisville, sorry, NC State. They played Louisville in the tournament and lost, and Haley Van Lith was on Louisville, and there was a little bit of a exchange of words in the handshake line.
Whoa,
So there's a little rivalry there as well.
really?
Um,
From the ladies, you're getting a little bit boisterous, eh?
hey, guess what? I think the one thing about some of the lady sports right now, I think the men who love sports and like I know the biggest fan of basketball and you like other sports, but like me, I love sports. I'm a fan of football and hockey. I mean, I could do a show like this on football and hockey too. That's just who I am, right?
Oh,
Um,
so could I, but I just don't have the time.
I just think people that really love sports are finally getting to see that women compete just like we do. There's no difference in compete. They talk trash just like we do. There's no
Well,
difference in that. They get after each
not as much. I mean,
no, but I'm saying, but they get after each other physically and get like they get in each
I
other's
think that
grill,
Trent,
right? So,
I think it's a good point, and I agree with you. I just think it's something that's been more recent with the attitude of some of these
sure.
gals in the WNBA.
Yeah.
And some of their attitudes are, you know, I totally get it. I mean, it's typical for guys, but you know, having both Trent and I have coached female basketball on all different levels, and generally speaking, women are young ladies. They're just such a pleasure to coach and be around, and the way they compete is so significantly different in so many positive ways
Game, yeah.
than guys. And but they're picking up some of the guys' bad behavior,
Yeah.
and it's
A little bit.
spilling over in the WNBA. And you look at the
I agree.
like from a male perspective, women are women, right? I'm not here to comment on what women wear or how they wear it or how they
Right.
beautify their self. Because I wouldn't expect them to say much, guys. I mean, what do we do? Throw some gel in their hair, brush their teeth, sew some
Dude, all you gotta do is
cologne on?
watch all you gotta do is watch Kyle Kuzma or Russell Westbrook or James Harden show up in an arena. Like,
Yeah,
really,
no
let's
kidding.
not be questioning what the ladies are wearing.
No, not at all. And my point being, Trent, is that you know you see someone that's got fake 2-inch eyelashes and
Uh,
crazy makeup,
the hair.
and the make and the hair and
Yeah.
everything is just done up. And honestly, whoever hired the person to be their personal makeup artist and stylist, they should be fired because they look
I don't
like
know
you're
how you
walking.
honestly, I don't know how you
Uh,
play with all that hair
well,
and
it's not that. They just look it looks like a joke, a bad joke. It's like
uh,
it honestly, it's like it's so ghetto. I just don't get it, man. It's not ghetto. It's more
I don't know
like
if that's the word, but
you go to some dodgy areas in European cities
right.
for certain reasons and you see how people put themselves together and it's like that's what it reminds me of. It's like, dude, we're out here playing basketball. It took you 2 hours before you put your uniform on? Come
Okay.
on, man.
We'll go back to the game. So that game should be and that's the
Hey, the
first game.
hoops is still good, but I mean, if you want to look good, I get it.
Yeah. So, uh, that game's the first game, so it's Battle of Texas. So that
And
should be a
who
good
do you
game.
think? Who do you
I'm
got?
rooting I'm rooting for TCU, to
Why?
be honest with you. I just they kinda play I just like the basketball that they play. I mean, both teams are pretty fun to watch. I find that TCU seems to play more. They have more people who contribute, like Haley Van Lith and their big center are their two main players. But then they also have a guard that is the best. She's like a 42% shooter from three, so she's the highest percentage 3 point
Uh,
shooter, right?
you know how much we love those guys.
Yeah. So I mean, and they just have a really good team, like that type of a team. Whereas Texas, again, good team, but Booker has to she has to have a great game for them to be in the mix type of thing. So now you're relying on that one player type thing, right?
And
For
who's this player? What's her name?
let me just go through here. I just wanted to find.
Just so we can tell people that maybe might
Yeah,
be
yeah.
interested in watching it, right?
Like I said, she wears 35, like Garnett used to. Men's.
Wow, that's twice you mentioned Garnet in one day. That's rare.
That's your guy right there. Out again, I see.
Ah, he blew his ankle out. The NBA this year is the year of the ankle blowouts. There's been about 377 of them.
Yeah, Madison Booker.
What a great name.
Yeah, he's forward, 6'1", really good player. Um, but they're big. They have a 6'9" girl. Um, they got a
You
bunch
know,
of 6
Trent. Not only do the people
foot.
that are watching it and don't know, I really appreciate this as well because I'm going to watch these games or try to watch as much as possible. We have our AGM, our yearly AGM, annual general meeting in our strata building tonight, so it's always a big deal, and this one's really important. But I just have to go down and vote. I don't need.
Yeah,
I know what's
yeah,
going
you
on
know,
with the issues, but what I don't know what's going on is I'd rather, being a hoop junkie, I'd rather watch
nothing
the
new.
ladies than listen to a bunch
Yeah.
of the crap at the AGM in our building, which I appreciate. I'm a realtor. I value that. But so what's this gal's name you just said? What's her name?
Booker is her last name.
Oh yeah, I
Madison.
love it. Madison Booker. Man, what a great name.
And then the second game is UConn USC. That game's
Yeah.
a little down because no Juju, but at the same time, Kiki Irfin is a good player. She scored 35 the other game to get to there. I mean,
Wow.
Paige Bueckers at UConn dropped 40 in the last
Right.
game.
Right.
Just had
I
a
knew that.
great game to get to this. Uh, I'd be I'd be quite surprised to see UConn lose. It just
Of course. Of course.
not having Juju Watkins is it's 25 points, it's 8 to 12 rebounds, it's a
It's more than that. It's
couple
more than
blocks.
that.
Juju
When
Watkins.
she
So,
steps on the
I mean,
court, she
so
changes the dynamics of the entire game.
Kobe
Juju.
Bryant, man.
Yeah.
She's
And anyway, so it sucks that it happens, and this happens
yeah.
far too often. But this young lady that stepped up in her and is that surprising? Because that's 35 points to pull out of the bag
Oh no,
is
she's a good player. She's a 5-star player. She
okay.
was a good player last year too.
Cool.
So
And
I
what's her
can't
name?
remember where she transferred from somewhere. Kiki Irifan.
Yeah, I think you mentioned her before, actually, as a number two option.
Yeah, she transferred this year. She transferred,
Cool.
and just can't remember what school she
No,
came
it's
from.
okay. No, I'm. And then, so is there
But
anybody else that you would
they have
mention
some
that?
good guard. I like their guard play. USC has some really good guards defensively. They get after it. They can shoot it if
Yeah,
they're open. They
cool.
got one blonde girl that can shoot it if she's open. But they
Right.
play good team defense. They're big. I mean, UConn has everybody.
Yeah.
So again, not having Juju Watkins. I mean, it's Juju Watkins. Anybody who's a basketball fan knows that that's a big what if not to have playing against UConn. It just, I mean, so I'd be very surprised to see USC win. I'm hoping for a good game. That's all. I think UConn wins, but
At the end of the day, being a hoop junkie, that's all I ever hope for when I watch hoops is a good game. I'm not really a fan of blowouts. I understand they happen.
right,
But I'm not a fan as a player when I used to play of being on the losing end of a blowout. It's the worst feeling in the world.
right,
But honestly, beating a team by 30 is it's not that fun either. I mean, you get the thing is you get the win. And sometimes it really kills my average because if I'm averaging 25, 30 points plus a game and we've already got these guys up at halftime by 30, coach is not going to play me. It's going to kill my average. It drove me nuts, man. I'm trying to get a scholarship at the next level. I'm trying to play professional basketball. My stats are everything, especially when you're coming from a Canadian school like SFU and you're a short white Canadian old dude too. And it's you need everything you can get, bro. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
Anyways, so I'm excited. Are you gonna watch those? You got them taped?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna try to watch them tonight. Yeah, I
Cool,
gotta.
cool.
Um, we're
What?
going away on a little holiday midweek, so I'm taping my other podcast later tonight with Ben. So, um,
Yeah, Trent's been so popular that there's
yeah,
podcasts are reaching out to him left and right. I'm glad I got him before anybody else.
super popular. But then
Yeah.
you got UCLA, South Carolina. I mean, that are already through. I mean,
Can you
uh,
say upset?
no, the Duke South Carolina game the other day was such a good game. It was in the
Yeah.
50s, so it wasn't high scoring.
Yeah, I hate
But
those.
Duke, it just plays such great defense, but they can't shoot it at all. Canadian girl
Nothing
had
nothing worse.
18. Canadian girl Fournier had 18.
Yeah, you
Had a
said
pretty
that.
good game. Few blocks, like 8 or 9 rebounds. So only a freshman. She's going to get better. So I'm hoping I'm hoping what we've seen in the NBA level for men's basketball in Canada, with more guys going down south to play, the opportunity being for them to play at Div 1 schools is much more. I'm hoping that trend is continuing because it is happening. We have more and more Canadian girls playing down south.
It's happening for both, but I think
But I hope
the
it
other,
translates into that. Are more Canadians in the WNBA, our Olympic program being
yeah.
stronger, and that kind of thing. So hopefully it goes in that same direction. It's just a little bit
Well,
behind, but it looks
it
like
is, Trent. It is, and you're almost guaranteed with your hopes to come to fruition. I think what a lot of people don't understand and don't realize is the people that don't go that avenue have so many different other options available where there wasn't in the past.
right.
And that is, if I decide to, if I'm, say I'm a 4.0 and I've got every Ivy League in the world and I can go anywhere I want, but because my basketball is more important, you can go right to playing professional right away. And this is why the NIL money came in. This is why the G League had to start raising the salaries and change the whole dynamics financially, was because like LaMelo Ball, kids were just going over at 16 years old and playing professional and making 6 7 figures. And 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 they're that good, it doesn't matter where they go because they're going to end up being in the NBA and
Yeah,
making millions anyways. But now they can go do the things that kids dream of and or kids are too scared of in North America.
right.
So it's not just the only option, but you're right to bring it up. Absolutely. It's better than it's ever have
We're
been.
seeing it. It's great. It's really good
Yeah,
for us
it is.
as fans and just in
Yeah,
general.
totally.
It's pretty sweet. So,
Yeah, it is.
but yeah, I think those two games tonight and then the final four.
Cool.
I believe on Friday. So they do Friday, men do Saturday, and then the girls' game is championship game is Sunday, and guys' championship game is Monday, I believe.
Yeah.
So sweet.
Well, I'm going up to Kelowna this weekend because we're referees. We're getting paid for our quarter year or third year or whatever,
Right.
and they're doing a little thing at the Ramada, and it's Final Four, both men and women. They got food and
Nice.
beverages and a paycheck. So
Perfect.
I,
Show me
and
the money.
right, just
Just show me the money. Make it rain. Make it
come
rain for my
on,
green
come
sales.
on.
Come on, let's go. Yeah. So, boys, I know you got to watch more boys this
Oh
last
yeah,
week.
yeah, it was
So,
incredible, incredible.
I was at a U15 hockey game for provincial final for girls in town here in St. Paul yesterday, so I didn't watch the Michigan State game. I saw the score, and basically those two games that were on yesterday were perfect mirrors of each other. Both Tennessee and Michigan State got down so bad that they played pretty well after that. It was a pretty even game after they got down. But once
Yeah,
you get down like that, it's so hard to get yourself all the way back. And both
it's
teams got themselves in single digits, and then eventually, I mean, you know what it's you get down like that. I've always told kids what happens is when you get, all of a sudden now your rotation's gone because you got to make up points, a lot of them, right? You only have so much time. So now there's guys playing more than sometimes they play. Well, by the time you do get back in it, those guys are gassed. And eventually the other teams have been playing everybody just like they always have because they've been in the lead. Well, once those starters come back out, with 8 minutes left, I mean it's on, right? That's why they're one of the one seeds kind of thing. So
I don't know about you. I think you're absolutely 100%. The only thing about the point is gassed. Are you talking about the younger kids or the NBA kids?
no, the kids that like in the college teams like that we're
Right.
talking about. What
Dude,
happens is
honestly,
somebody like
I
Michigan State. I mean, they're
when
only
I
playing
was
8
when I
games.
was 18 to 22 or
Sure.
15 to 40, I'd go out and play 8 hours a day on Kits
Okay.
Beach.
The-
And gassed was never part of my
yeah, that's
vocabulary.
that's not. That's not the same. That's not apples to
No, it
apples.
isn't. But I mean, what I'm saying is try if you play
I-
seriously 12,
I'm
14, 15 games down on
I know.
Kits Beach and you hold the courts for 5 6 hours, trust
Been
me,
there.
it's a lot more.
Yeah, it's been there, done that. Got the T-shirt and the
Yeah.
hat. It's a great
It's
place.
fantastic.
But
No,
the
my
difference
point is
is
a
that
lot of people don't understand gas when you talk about young people,
the
right?
difference because you have to take a bunch of there's a whole other bunch of stuff to take into uh, the circumstance. You're playing in front of 20,000 people. There's 10 million people watching. You're in a big stadium. They're putting it in
Pressure.
bigger buildings.
Pressure. Yeah.
There's not. I won't even. It's just. I wouldn't even want to look at it as pressure. I think they get
It
to
is.
play in
It's
these games.
immense pressure.
The tense. It's getting it out of warm-ups, being able to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you jump a little higher, jump shots going a little farther because you have all this energy, right? So there's a little difference there. And then when you have to play, you're playing with that tensed up. Well, you tire yourself out a lot quicker because you're tensed up,
Yeah,
right?
I was the opposite. I would go from being hyped before the game and warm-ups and go through my routine before the game, and then as I came down, the game clock started to get closer. I became calmer.
Well, you're
And
special.
no, no, it wasn't. I actually learned this. I read books by professional players called Entering the Zone,
Oh,
and
perfect.
I was preparing to enter the zone. And but at the end of the day, it was about preparing to have clarity and be concise in my movements and watch the game and watch everything slow down and then take over the game.
I entered
And
the zone a different way.
Trent entered the zone after he took his dog for a walk on the golf course in snowshoes, and he snuffed and he shuffled
Yeah,
the
yeah,
front entrance, and then
yeah.
went into the garage to make sure the
Yeah,
uh,
everything was
um,
good, no snow in the
status
garage, yeah.
was
Clean the litter, make sure it's all good in there, yeah, then ready to go. Getting ready
everything's
to go down.
comprehensive. And now the
So
content is just shine.
so
So
the men's game, we have all 4 number 1 seeds. So neither of us, we
we
kinda
talked about the last 2 weeks,
right? And we've talked
right?
about that, and the big reason, and we can talk about this a little bit, big
Because we
reason,
we called it two
this
three
NI
weeks ago.
the NI you if you're a college basketball fan, as long as these NIL rules stay that the way they are, that people can just leave, you can say goodbye to having a number 8 seed Providence in the Final Four. You can say goodbye to a number 10 George Mason making it to the finals. You can say goodbye to any of those seeds, 3 or less, ever getting to the Final Four again,
Yeah.
because all the players are going to where they're going to get more money,
Oh yeah.
and these big schools like Florida, Duke, Houston, people are going again. Doesn't take much to get. You can give a kid a little bit of money, but if you're selling them on a winning tradition as well. Well, I'm getting on TV more. There's aspirations there. The way this is set up right now is killing college sports. It's ruining it. So just the other day, for example, uh, Indiana, storied franchise, right? Blue blood school who's been not been very good for a long time. They just hired a new coach.
Who'd
Well,
they
just
get?
I can't remember the guy's name. Greg
Yeah.
something. I can't remember.
Yeah, because nobody knows him probably.
Yeah. So I don't know. He came from, I can't remember, whatever.
No.
So he got
No,
hired.
nobody wants that job, and they're not going to hire just
Well,
anybody.
yeah, exactly. So they hired him, and 3 days later, so as of March
No
29th,
disrespect to the
no,
guy.
no, we don't know.
Congratulations.
But so they so yesterday was the 29th. Yeah, a couple days ago. On
Oh,
the
31st
29th,
today. 31st today.
yeah. So on the 29th, all 12 scholarship players for Indiana entered the portal. So they have 0 players on their team right now, and he just got hired because
Because
of
of him getting hired?
I don't know. I just think they
That
again
is bizarre, bro. That
well
is so bizarre.
they got recruited by the guy that's not there anymore, so they
I
might be
know.
going,
I
"Hey,
get that. I
I
get
want to be
that.
here."
I
But
get that.
all 12 scholarship athletes
Yeah.
all entered the portal on the 29th. So he has 0 players right now.
Wow.
Like, unbelievable, right? So you're going to see this. I mean,
I
the
thought you were
matchups are
joking. I
great.
thought you were joking at
I
first.
can't wait. I'm going to be in Montreal, unfortunately, but I'm definitely going to be finding somewhere to go to have a couple beers on the Saturday before I go to the Flyers Canadian game.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Auburn, Florida, I mean, Duke, those are 2 great games. I just hope they're great games, and they should. The matchups are great. So many good players. I just love how Houston plays. I don't know if they're long enough for Duke, but
No,
they
but
play
their
hard.
defenses and the way
Oh,
they play together, depth and their coaching. Wow.
oh. Do you know? I don't know. Did you watch the Tennessee Houston game?
Not all of it.
Okay, so when because they got down, it was 34-15. I mean,
I
Tennessee
know.
only scored
That's
15 points
that's.
in the
I
first
listen.
half. Like,
You know
holy,
you know I like both these teams,
you're
and
walking away
maybe
from
it
that
shows.
game for sure.
No,
15
I
points.
mean when I saw that, I was like, oh boy. You know when you talk about when you go down and how hard it is to come back.
Yeah, they
People
were
have no idea at that
so
level, and especially a good team like Tennessee. You think, oh,
yeah,
it's a game of runs. They
15
can do
points.
this. If any team can do it, it's Tennessee. For me, I just shook my head and said, that's
Oh,
it, because Houston is that good.
they're good. They hit open shots,
Woo!
but the big thing in that game I took away in the second half, especially the fourth, like but the last 10 minutes, with 3 minutes left and that game was physical. They were letting them play. But with 4 minutes left or 6 minutes left in the second half, Tennessee was in the bonus, and by a 3 minute mark, they were in the double bonus with 10 fouls. Meanwhile, Tennessee only had 2 fouls. It's like, are the refs trying to get them back in this game, kind of thing? And Houston just every time they made a little push, Houston would get an open three or something, and they hit every one. They hit every shot that they needed to hit.
Those
So,
open
and they're going to
those
have to hit everyone against Duke. They're not beating
Yeah,
Duke
and
unless they play Portland.
that's just
So
not going to happen because at the end of the day,
Duke is
we always talk. Trent and we're hoop junkies. We're offensive. We love fast paced basketball. We love pressure basketball. We love everything that basketball can be done in one game. But it's so hard for the vast majority of teams to be able to do that.
yeah,
So some teams are really good defensive. Most teams are because coaches are all defensive player. They're coaches.
right.
It's defense wins championships. It's just ingrained in your basketball brain.
Yep.
And 50 years later, that's all everybody thinks. At the end of the day, being an offensive player and loving offense, I played great D. I love defense. I believe it. I get it. But really, really good offense, nobody can stop it. If a guy's hot, he will destroy everybody regardless of what you want to think you can do.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, good offense will win championships. But agreed, if you look at what the Final Four is, Trent, with all number ones, they all have something in similar, don't they?
Yeah.
They're all great defensive teams
Yep.
for the
And they're
most
all
part.
big. Actually,
And
Auburn's probably the smallest team
right,
out of
which
the four.
is kind of weird.
They're
Now
the oldest too.
I've had the chance of watching Auburn 4 times now, or 3 times, pardon me, and the third time is when I really started to see what was going on. And the kid in the middle is really special, eh?
Yeah. Again, he's going to have to develop a move to the right.
He doesn't have it.
He's going to have to if he wants
No,
to be successful in
it's
the
not going to happen. He hasn't showed it
NBA.
yet.
Awful.
And I just don't think. I think they got a chance to. So who do you? What do you want to break down all 4 teams, or how do you want to do this?
No, we can just go through it like we're going through it right now.
Okay,
I mean, it's
cool.
fine.
So what do you got next?
Well, no, Auburn, I'm with you on them. But the thing about them, they're old, and I do really love the.
Just wait. You got to tell people. Old means that they're like
Well,
some
they're
seniors
all
at
they're all
24-year-old
23.
senior.
They're already 20. They're all 23, not Cooper Flag and some of the
Hardly
guys.
old.
And that, yeah, but for this, they are. They're the oldest team. Them in Houston, probably.
Yeah.
So they have the freshman that they have, the little left-handed guard. He just played great in that game. The game before Michigan State, he just hit every jump shot,
Yeah.
pull-up jump shots, mid-range, and then the next game it was the other guard who hit all the shots. So they don't seem to get rattled because they're older, right? So they get down a little bit. They don't seem to panic. They get a run at them. They just seem to make a shot when they need to, or the ball goes down, and they understand that the ball needs to play inside out, and they run. They want to play D and run. And I mean,
You know,
Florida.
I got to say before you get into Florida, it's exactly what I saw on both of Duke and them. Is there's a sense of continuity, a fluidity, a synergy of team that is just operating at a higher level of
Right.
consciousness. And everybody collectively seems to be one. And it's quite frightening to see that kind of level of basketball
Yeah.
at this age. So, would that be a disadvantage or an advantage, or it doesn't matter if you're
I think.
18 or 24?
Well, I think you see those guys. I just think sometimes maybe the mental part at 23 is maybe a little bit more polished because you play in
Right,
the SEC anyway, so you play in lots of big games. So,
right.
like I said, they just even when they get a run pushed at them, they always seem to kind of be able to push back. They don't get too rattled. I've seen a
Yeah,
couple games. I mean, they had one game this year where they got just pumped by like 25, but coach just kind of said, you know what, we'll give this one away. They're not playing well, so he just started playing everybody.
yeah.
But Florida's big. Um, the guard, the Clayton Jr. What a player! Like holy moly! Again, another guy who seemed to hit when they needed a shot. That guy hit it, and like you said, play D. Like they get after people, and I mean, they let guy. I mean, sometimes it's a little too much. Even in the women's game, you watch some of the play, and you're going, "How is that not a foul?" doesn't even matter that I'm cheering for the team. It's just like they let them play in college. Like they let them get after each
You know,
other.
I'd like to think that's the truth, but I just think the ineptitude of refereeing, and I'm a ref. I'm a paid ref myself, so I got to be careful. Any of my referee association of Kelowna. Sorry, chaps. I'm just talking about what I see. And it's really atrocious. Like
Professional referee Paul Bale.
I'm, hey, what can I say? It's
It is. It's crazy. I know you're watching it. You're just thinking a guy is just mauling guy up the floor. Like the hand check, the '90s
I
NBA
came
hand
full
check is
circle,
supposed to in
Trent.
college.
I came full circle. I had to come full circle, and to be a professional ref is a side hustle, but more importantly, my thank you. No, no, seriously, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I love it. I love being a ref. I love the kids, the energy, the sound of the basketball, the squeaking of the shoes, and to be 60 and ref and be a part of the community. It's awesome. You know how it is, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's fun.
We've been doing this for a long time.
Fun to be around. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that. I mean, I don't know. Who do you got? Who do you got in that game
Which one? Sorry.
in Auburn, Florida?
Well, I mean, I just think Auburn's strength is also their biggest weakness. And if the big fella in the middle in Auburn gets in foul trouble, Auburn's in serious trouble.
Right.
I just don't think they have the girth, the size, and the depth to compete with Florida. I think it's going to be a really good game. I hope it's going to be a close game. But Florida just has shown this resilience and determination and confidence, man. That's the one thing I wanted to say about these teams is how confident these young men come across and act and react in this situation. It's quite remarkable.
Oh, it's impressive.
So I got Florida.
You got Florida, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, it's pretty hard to argue that. I mean, I
I
actually
like Auburn. I didn't at first. The first game I watched, I was like, I couldn't even watch it. But then once I saw them play a few times, I was like, oh, I get it. But Florida, that's a whole different beast, man.
Florida beat them 90-81 earlier in the season.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they play. They're both in the SEC, so
Right, right, right.
I think they might have played twice. So I just want trying to find the
Probably.
other.
I think they all do in the SEC, right?
Yeah, but I only see one here, so I only see one score from a Florida
That's
uh,
weird.
Auburn game. But hey, but yeah, it was Florida at home too. So Florida got them 90-81. So high
Wow.
scoring game. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
And then, I've got Duke to win the whole thing, right? But
that's yeah.
honestly, to watch the Duke game, at this point being a hoop junkie, I know who I want to win, but I don't care. Any of these four teams deserve to win. They made it to the Final Four. I think that's the whole journey. I love this whole process of March Madness, and we get to see the female and male unfold, and it's going to be exciting.
And Auburn lost to Duke as well.
Right. I do know
Uh,
that.
that was a good game too. It was a 84-78. So
Yeah.
good ball game. So
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty
at
close.
Duke too. So you played Duke to a game like that in Cameron, right? So that's
Yeah. Of course.
I got Duke. I mean, I'm kind of rooting for Auburn just because it will make for some good clips from Charles Barkley,
Yeah.
War Eagle clips from his alma mater. So I'm kind of rooting for Auburn to win in all of it, just because
I,
I don't think they've won one.
I
I don't
think
believe
the thing about for me that Houston is my
Houston
favorite.
too. That's
Houston's
the
my
other. Yeah,
they're my
yeah.
favorite team
Yeah.
in the whole thing. Like if I had
Wait,
one, but I've always liked Duke number one before them, and here they are meeting, and of course it happens. My two favorite teams, they have to go through each other,
it'll be good.
so
It's a good
it's
game.
going to be awesome. But I think watching Duke, and I didn't watch a lot of Duke early in the year, and we had a
Right.
segment on our show, the
Yeah.
Cooper Flag segment. And we talked about because we both love him, and he's kind of like I guess the closest for me is like a combination between Larry Bird and Dirk Nowitzki for me.
Yeah.
Of what I think because at 6'9" and the way he's built, like you talked about it in one of our earlier shows about him being broad, and if you look how his dad's built, and he has shoulders on him like a massive building in Manhattan, and long arms. And I just think he has all of and Bird was 6'9", but he's broader than Bird and he's more athletic than Bird.
I'd say Dirk and I'd say Dirk and Blake Griffin. That would be the combo for me.
Yeah, I never liked Blake Griffin, but
I'm me either, but he just doesn't shoot the ball good enough to be a Larry Bird. Even
yeah, but I
Dirk,
mean the kid's 18, 19 years old, so
crazy. It's
I
crazy.
just think it's his destiny, and I think if anybody can upset them,
Yeah.
it's Houston. And I think if Houston gets to the Seminoles for the final game, I think they
I,
have a chance to win the whole thing.
oh, for sure. I'm rooting for Houston, no doubt.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
the thing about Duke too, I mean, the shortest player in the starting five is 6'6".
I know.
Yeah. And
They keep
they're
on mentioning that, Trent. They keep
oh,
on
they're
mentioning
so
it.
big. It's unreal how big they are. It's just, and I mean, the big African kid from South Sudan, he played on the South Sudan Olympic team. Like
Yep.
they have real legitimate talent, right? And again, get used to this. Get used to it always being 1 to 2 seeds in this Final Four
Yeah.
because it's not going to change. All these kids are going to go to these schools. They want to win. It's television exposure. It's money.
Interestingly enough, Trent, is with the women, there's a possibility of all seeds being number one
Yep.
after today,
Yep.
and then of course all seeds number one on the men's side. Is that the first time?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I'd have to look it up because it was the
That's
first time in the
incredible,
men's
dude.
game in quite a
That's
while.
yeah, but no, I'm talking about men and women.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's unique in itself, right?
Yeah, and the thing about the women's game is you usually do. There's such a disparity between, I would say, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the rest of the field on each side. Whereas the men,
Yeah,
hey
yeah,
man, 8 seed is a good team. 8 seed was Wisconsin. Gonzaga was a 9 seed, right? You don't
yeah.
see that in the ladies game. In the ladies game right now, it's usually those top four
It
teams in that
drops right
bracket
off,
are
eh?
it drops off, and that's why you've seen a lot of blowouts there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
On the
yeah,
women's game, you do see it's 1, 2s, and 3s mostly all the time in their
yeah,
Final Four. It's the men's game that you would get, like I said, you get a George Mason who's like, or Butler with Gordon Hayward. They were like a 10th, 11th seed. They're in the final. They were a shot away from winning it, for gosh sakes.
yeah.
You're not gonna. That's not happening anymore. It's just not going to with this system. So yeah,
Well,
we'll get to
that
have
was
that.
that was an
We'll be
ex
recording before the game next Monday. So
dude. That was an excellent segment, and we're heading on 38. So we really did a good job of covering the women and men, I think,
yeah,
and
man. Oh yeah,
having a little chat.
going on
And
right now.
I think we should get into before we get into the road to the NBA playoffs and the play-in, which we'll finish up with.
Yeah, yeah,
We're going to talk about Yahoo NBA fantasy basketball trend.
yeah.
And as anybody that's playing basketball, Yahoo, specifically 9 category leagues like Trent and I, the vast majority, 90% of people that play fantasy basketball play 9 category leagues, predominantly Yahoo. Of course, there's others, right? NBA, ESPN, Monster Basketball. There's a ton of them out there. But Trent and I love Yahoo. I've been playing Yahoo since 2000 and 24 years now, and it's week 22. And we do a segment on the show, the Canadian Bro Show,
Right.
all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Raleigh, is we do a waiver wired,
Disconnect.
unconnected, that is connected again. And it's for
Good
those
one.
that are
Good
still
one.
involved in the NBA finals. Many of us that are playing fantasy basketball that are just regular people that love hoops and they're in it, they're already out.
Yeah.
They got wiped out in the first round, or they didn't even make the first round. They went straight to consolation, or you're in
Play
the
toilet bowl.
whatever. It doesn't matter.
Play
But
toilet bowl.
getting for the vast majority of players, including myself, I have 8 teams. I still in the run for a trophy, and in 3 of them going into this final week. And this is the key. If you're in the final week, anything can happen. And I'm quite surprised, to be frankly, in the league. And this is why we talked about the show, because we wanted to make it relevant, not just for Yahoo NBA fantasy basketball, but both Trent and I, under our logo, just above Trent's head there, the Canadian Bro Show with the basketball and a couple of handsome 60-year-old chaps, all basketball from the Hoop Junkies,
I'm way
Pauly and
younger.
Rolly. We drafted in the same league, a 10 league team, 9 categories at the beginning of the year, 20 weeks ago, 22 weeks ago, maybe more. And Trent and I both ended up being drafting ninth and 10th. And which is can be, let's just say, a lot of people find that intimidating. Personally, with Trent and I, because we're hoop junkies, it's like bring it on. And we both started off the season in dead last, and then Trent started to see the light because he drafted better than I did
Yeah.
and had more consistency in the first quarter of the
Injured.
year, and started to rock it up, and hardly had any injuries and was just killing it. All his players were just, everybody was averaging really crazy numbers, record numbers, historic numbers, and I was just languishing, but I was right behind him. And then
Yeah.
I
You went
made a spurt. I made a spurt towards the end, made a spurt in the beginning, and then I slipped to fifth, and that's where I'm at now. And as it turns out, on the 11th hour last night,
yeah. Yeah.
and before the game started at 4 o'clock, I looked at the matchups between the team who I know. I played them quite a few times already because there's only 10
Yeah.
teams in a league leading up to the playoffs. I looked at him and I was looked at, he's got a fuck, he's stacked, man. This fucking guy is stacked. And then it's all picks up when everybody drops out and they just drop off players, and he scooped up
GTDs.
he scooped
GTDs.
two more. He scooped up the dude that's been taking every second night off with the Raptors like everybody else, the Canadian cat, and
Yep.
who, whatever. I'm so pissed with the Raptors right now because of that
Yeah.
tanking bullshit. And anyways, and he grabbed. So now I'm up against this guy, and he's the fourth, and I'm the fifth.
Yeah.
And Trent was first in the league, and
Yeah.
him and the guy that was first our whole league in 23 weeks.
Yeah.
And Trent, tell us what happened with you. So I ended up winning on the 11th hour because of assists.
And
I
I
picked
lost on
up
the 11th
Schroeder,
hour.
who got 11 assists because
So,
Cade Cunningham's injured, and he got
yeah.
11 assists, and I won by like just a handful of assists
Yeah.
and
And
a
I
couple
lost
of
by
points.
one steal. So, and yeah. And good old GTDs with Steph Curry on Friday night. Did put him in, and then went to look at the game a couple minutes after 5, and oh, he's playing. I'm like, oh, of course he is. And yeah, he had 5 steals that night, so
Yeah,
I would have
of
been
course,
in the tomorrow game. So, and I mean, I still hung on till the second half of the Raptors game. Butler kid the guy picked up just to have minutes because guys were sitting on him as well, not
yeah,
as many.
yeah.
But yeah, Giannis had a big fuck. Giannis had a huge game. Mitchell had a huge game, but Jared Allen had a great. So it was really even. And I went and got in the hot tub and came out and looked at it, and he was a steal behind me with a half to play, and I came out and he got 2 steals, so I was out. So I'm playing for third. So it is what it is. So
Should have stayed in the jacuzzi, bro.
I know I was in there long enough. So
I
I was
know,
in
I'm
there.
joking, but it just shows you. I had a really tough year. I had 8 teams, and it was very tough. I think I finished fifth in 3, seventh in 1. So that's 3/5, a seventh, and then I'm with 3, and then some, maybe a sixth, maybe, and then I've got these 3. So right now I'm just fighting for, in our league, Trent's because he's out. But Trent, you're fighting for third place.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, it's a bronze, dude. If I get a silver and you get a bronze, the Canadian Bro Show won.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We won
Oh,
anyways. We both
that's
won.
what we
I mean,
talked about. No, but I mean,
I mean,
to get some shrapnel is kind of nice, right? I mean, in this case,
would have been nice to
um,
be in the finals against each other. That's how
well,
close we were.
that would be ideal. And I don't care about losing to Trent. If he wins, that'd be great.
I'll
If
be
I
making sure to look. I'll be making sure to look at the final, everybody's final numbers at the end of this week, and I know for a fact I'm going to look at it. I'm going to go, mine's better than everybody's. Yahoo, you jobbed me.
yeah. Well, it
Jobbed me.
happens. It happens, and this is why you can
You,
win and lose a season in the 11th hour of the
good luck to you.
last day.
So,
And that's how I won and Trent lost. So there we go. I'm fighting for a gold. And if I get a silver, I'm happy. If I get a gold, I'm happy. Trent's
yeah,
fighting for a bronze. And if he gets a bronze, he's happy. And if
yeah.
he doesn't, he's fourth place and he's going to be not so happy.
I look at it as the first year doing it. I
It's
basically
fun. It's fun, Trent. It's been a tough year, bro. It's not been normal,
all these
right?
guys sit in games, man. It's just
Oh, it's
tiring.
crazy, dude.
if we're going to
So
talk about.
just to get back, so because they are 44 minutes, there are people still playing. And this is really this week is an excellent opportunity to stack your teams if you need players. So now you just go on the waiver wire, and yeah, there's professionals that say, hey, this is who you want to pick up, but there's also teams that are pissed off, like Trent and others,
I'm
that
not
will
pissed
drop
off.
no,
So
that will drop players
nope.
and just say unload all of their great players, and guys will just stack their teams going into a 4 game week. By the way, all three of my teams I've stacked with teams that are playing 4 games this week. All
Perfect.
three of my remainder teams, because
Thanks.
I'm playing the numbers, 9 categories, and I'll do that the entire week. Every single day I'm stacking, because it's just one assist, one steal, 1-3.
Yep. Yep.
And I love it that much. Now, with a surprising coaching change, with the head coach of the upstart Memphis Grizzlies playing phenomenal basketball with all the injuries they've had, they get rid of Taylor Jenkins. Very surprising, with 9 games left, has a win-loss record that nobody else has in the NBA through 6 years,
Yeah.
and they let go of him. Well, they let go of him because of his players. They stopped listening to him. They toned him out, and we
Yep.
know who those people are. Everyone does. It's in
Yeah.
the news. People talking about it. And
Exactly.
at the end of the day, it's a players' league. These cats are making boatloads of money, and that's just in the NBA. As a coach, you're hard to be fired. That's it.
Right.
I talked to last time I talked to my friend and coach in the NBA, Jay Triano. We had the conversation, and I said, Jay, that's what it is, and he laughed, and he says, yeah, it's so true. It's sad, but it's so true, and everyone knows it. It's an equal playing field. Everyone
Yep.
knows what the
Yep.
game is,
Yep.
including the players. So, who are you going to add? Well, Zach Eady, I never thought Taylor Jenkins gave him a proper run. Was playing a guy that wasn't even in the NBA, Jay Huff, who's like a fourth-rate center, got some skills, nice
Right.
athletic big man, great beard, but should have been playing him. And Zach gets 6 more minutes last night alone, and look at
Right.
the numbers he put up.
Yep.
So I just want to say there's a lot of what's going on right now where players can, in this last week, 2 weeks of the NBA, can change their whole
Right.
careers.
Yep.
And the next one is Matis Buzelis. This kid is my new favorite Euro. I watched Chicago's been winning. I'm a big fan of
There's
Chicago.
a different euro every week.
Dude is 6'8" with a 40-inch vertical, and he's got
Yeah.
the worst haircut in the NBA, but he gets up and he's electrifying. And he is they got him a special player right there. If he's
Hmm.
available, pick him up. They got 4 games in the last week.
Yeah. Yep.
Scottie Pippen Jr., Ja Morant. Once again, rumors about him being traded, because Trent and we talked about it last couple episodes. I brought it up. Dude is going to get traded. You can't just pretend to show up 50 games and
Yeah.
think you're a Rastafarian rock star who can change a dynamic. Forget about it. People just run out of time and patience. And somebody's demise is another person's surprise, but they're going to pay a lot for it.
Such a wannabe. Such a wannabe.
Totally. So Scottie Pippen Jr., who I flirted with, he won the Summer League MVP last year. Trent picked him up late in the season, had a good first game. Trent's been touching gold up until recently. Every player he touched on the waiver wire
Yeah.
unconnected, that's
He had
reconnected.
a couple of good games and then he stunk. Then, well, his thing was is that Morant was out for the first 2 games I had him.
Yeah,
Morant was out, so he put up really great numbers. And
yeah,
then the last night when I needed him really on Saturday more, he only played like 19 minutes because Morant was back. So I think they'd be better off. Yeah, but yeah, he's a good pickup if you can get him. Still going to play
yeah,
20 minutes. So
yeah. I mean, that's the thing, and it's really slim pickings out there at this point. It's right. Just if you're still in the playoffs, hit the waiver wire and look at your schedule and try to fill in. Get rid of players that are 3 game weeks, unless it's that night or the
yeah,
next day, and hold on. Once they're done, there's only one more game. Gone. Get somebody else that's got 3 games.
yeah,
That's on a team that is not tanking, or even if they're tanking, he's going to get 28 minutes or whatever.
yep,
So, and that's how I Deke and Duke. So The only last guy I picked up, and nobody was probably on the same train. I looked at a bunch of shows on YouTube and a bunch of professional shows on the basketball shows, and no one talked about this cat. But I picked him up, and he had the best game all season last night, and that is Porter Jr.
Oh,
with
right,
Milwaukee because of Damon Lillard's
right.
unfortunate blood clot situation, and they're starting some cat. I like what is I, Doc? You need to have a gummy before the game, bro. It's obvious who you need to start. It's Trent Jr. for defense
Yep.
and Porter Jr. So in Porter Jr. pissed off that he had a crap shooting game the night before, had an opportunity to make an impression. He's playing for a big paycheck too. He was out of the NBA, literally
Yep.
got kicked out of the NBA from Houston, and then the Clips just gave up on him. Dude had 26 points. This is 24 minutes. 26 points. He was 9 for 12. He made 8 for 9 threes. He had 7 dimes, 2 steals, a couple of threes. And he's got this wonky, flat left hand jumper.
Yeah.
He was on fire.
Yeah.
And I go with him, grab him, take him, because I got 4 games as well. And they got injury reports. So
Right.
that's what we got on the waiver wire unconnected that's reconnected.
Yeah. If Brooklyn had more games, I would tell you to take.
They got
Take a,
4 this week.
well, I would take a run at Drew Timmy, a Gonzaga
Yeah.
player.
Do you see what he
They,
did before he got picked
yeah,
up?
yeah,
He had 50 points in the G League,
yeah.
50
So
points and
he's
19
gonna
rebounds,
get a he's going to get a chance to play a little bit there. So
and
I
he's a
would,
guy that never even got drafted.
yeah.
The
Um,
leading scorer of Gonzaga's history, and he's 6'11".
nice.
Like he's a prototype from the 60s and 70s and
Yep.
80s, right? But he is
Yep.
effective. He plays below the rim, but he doesn't need to play above the rim. He's
He's
so
got good
smart,
footwork. Yep. Smart
so
player.
effective. Yeah, it's a good choice, Trent.
The best part is
So
too when he scores. I know you don't watch South Park a lot, but there's a handicap kid in South Park, and his name's Timmy. And the way he talks, it's like Timmy. That's the line they use. So when he scores in Brooklyn right now, that's what you hear. You hear Timmy. Like I'm
really,
like, oh
that's
my
awesome.
gosh, you
I love that.
guys,
I didn't know that.
so good. So,
I didn't
but
know
yeah,
that. So, hey, do you want to break down? Look, there's only like
yeah,
6, 7 games left in the NBA season. We just want to go to the standings and
we'll go to the
talk
standings.
about anybody that's making a run for the play-in, maybe,
Yeah.
because not much is going to change,
No,
really,
like you
unless.
said, those top six teams, like we said last week, right? I mean,
Okay,
Cleveland, Boston, Knicks, Pacers, Detroit, and Milwaukee are going to probably be the top six. You know who's really made a surge actually in the last week is Atlanta. They actually really pushed themselves back up in. They're only 4 games out of that sixth spot. I don't think they're catching Milwaukee, but they've kind of solidified themselves to be in the play-in now.
I'm a little surprised you're surprised that you're
Well,
saying that because I've been on Atlanta
it
in a
wasn't about
positive
being
light
on though.
for.
It was
No, what I'm
the
saying is
injuries.
I've been pushing them
Yeah,
because of Trey
yeah,
and
but
how he's played this year. He's been honestly I'd say he's
just
the best
terrible
point guard in
injuries.
the NBA right now.
Just terrible injuries, right? Yeah, I
Oh,
don't think
just
it's
terrible,
okay. Okay,
terrible.
let's simmer down on that. Okay,
No, but I mean top 5 for sure.
sure, of course he is. Um,
But he wasn't even voted as an All-Star player,
yeah,
which is just bizarre.
but
Anyway,
Detroit, they had a nice little brawl there the other night, last night. A bunch of people ejected. Beef Stew, your boy Beef Stew is right
oh,
in there,
is he
grabbing
like this?
nuts,
He's like
grabbing nuts. That's your guy.
he's
but
such an angry.
but
I can't stand him. I can't
you know
stand him.
what? Again, they're playing great basketball. They did lose, ended up losing the game, but I mean, for them to be in the fifth spot,
Trent, you're
keeping
forgetting a really important part of the fight. Usually the fights between players,
yes,
two
I know,
assistant coaches
yeah,
got kicked out.
yeah, I know, but
That never happens.
it was heated, so which is great for fans. There's a little rivalry, right?
It's
So
totally ridiculous. It was total bullshit. And there was nothing, no fisticuffs. Nobody got
no,
hit. It's all
no, it's
bullshit.
the NBA, man. We're not talking about Daryl Dawkins and Maurice Lucas
Oh
here. We're
no.
talking
Oh no, no.
about people swinging.
Or
Um,
Kermit Washington dislodging half of somebody's head,
Rudy Tom Jones'
right?
face. But with Cleveland and Boston, Boston's actually closed the gap. They've made up 5 games. They're only 4 back of Cleveland. I
Nine
don't
and
think.
one, bro. Honestly, very surprising. Very
But
impressive.
you know what? I'm going to make a comparison here, so you can agree to disagree. Do you remember
Oh,
when
so I don't have any choice.
well, yeah, well, you can one or the other. Um, do you remember years ago when Atlanta had all those all-stars? They had Josh Smith, Jeff Teague, Al Horford, and they had one other all-star on that team, and I can't remember who it was. There's 4 of them. And everybody was all they were on Slam magazine. Everybody was hyping them up. They were like one of the better teams, and they got swept by LeBron and the Cavs in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah.
That's this Cleveland Cavalier team right now.
But
That's
I don't
like
think so. I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so either, but that's what people are talking about saying,
They don't
"You
know.
look at this team,
Well,
right?" I'm going, "No. No
just because
way.
people are talking
No,
doesn't
no."
mean they know what they're
Uh,
talking about.
People are saying, people have told me, but I'm not saying that. I'm with you on them. I like that they can play 2 bigs. If they're healthy, I mean, you gotta beat Boston to
Honestly, if we had more time in the show, we could go deeper on that, but
we
that's for
can,
another
and
show.
we will as we get closer to the playoffs anyways, right?
Sure,
That
sure.
we won't have a lot of college to talk about. It will be basically on every series that we'll be able to go through kind of
Well,
thing.
not only that, I want to add in Trent. I just on a quick
Well,
interjection
CBL is getting going too.
and a quick interjection to add to the show for content. We're going to be doing uh, an interview series. It's a premiere interview series, and we're going to be doing how well. It's going to be a lot of subject, all basketball, of course. One is going to be NBA expansion. We want to talk about that quite a bit. And talk about the WNBA expansion as well and what's going on in Europe and basketball in general. But also want to talk about, and the expansion is really important because it's really going to open up the doors. And then we want to talk about just recently, really quick. A lot of people don't realize this that the Federation of International Basketball Association, FIBA, the largest governing body of basketball in the world, has gone into business with the NBA. They've been talking about
Yeah,
this for quite some time. And they're
yeah,
starting a professional sub league, professional league that is not EuroLeague. It's not part of FIBA A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, the
mhm.
whole thing. That's not EuroLeague, but it is going to be a super league of 15 teams. And they want to run, it's going to be very interesting, the rules. So we'll get into it later.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then yeah, I mean, there's basketball goes all year round, but the interview series is going to be really cool because we want to have how to become a professional basketball player. We're going to be doing interviews with people
Right.
that have been professional basketball players, coaches, agents. How do you do it? Anyways, going back to Trent. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So 7, 8, 9, 10 are the playing games, and so in the East, I think we know that it's going to be uh, Atlanta, Orlando, Chicago, Miami. So 2 of those teams get into the 8, right? That's the
The two
idea.
best
Play-in.
teams, supposedly.
So who do you got out of those 4? Who's getting into the playoffs out of those 4?
Oh man.
Lions aren't the playoffs. They just made something up to
Yeah,
again.
I have to go. I'm going to go
Good
with
with
my gut.
Matthew.
I'm going to go with who I've been talking
Yeah.
about the last couple of weeks, and I've been watching a lot of both of these picks, these
Yep.
teams,
Yep.
and really interesting to see. I'm going to have to say the Atlanta Hawks. I'm a big Trey Young fan.
Yep.
Riche, the number one pick in the NBA draft last night, went off for a career
Yep.
high.
Yep.
He's really good. He's like he reminds me of George Gervin
Yeah, he's just
way
young.
he's built and just watch him move, the fluidity and finger rolls. He's got some skill, man. I really like him, and he's 6'8". He's like,
Mm.
and so I like Atlanta a lot, and I really like how the trade worked out. I'm a huge Trey Young fan. I think with the dynamics that's going on, I just feel that if somebody slips up, the Pistons or the Bucks slips up, even
Right.
Indiana. I think Atlanta is someone to I'd be looking over my shoulder, be
Right.
like, you know, Orlando finally slipped, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I have to give the edge to Chicago Bulls right now. I think they're
Yeah.
playing better basketball. They're 7-3 in the
Yep.
last 10 games,
Yep.
and they got Vooch back, and the trade really worked out. Giddy has transformed himself
No,
into what nobody else is doing in the NBA right now, and he's a walking triple double as a guard.
he,
Not
he,
Jovic, not the Joker, who's averaged a triple double this year, which is
yeah.
absolutely incredible. But
Yeah.
Chicago with Brasilis and the big dude, they didn't trade Vooch. They got Collins, who really came into
Yep.
his own, and Kobe White has just been
Yep.
playing incredibly inspiring basketball. So
Yep.
those are the two, Trent.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Orlando finally kind of what we're waiting for Detroit to do, and they just haven't done it. Orlando has kind of seemed to feels like they've slipped a bit, and Miami, I don't have any. I mean, yeah, they could win a game maybe, but I'd rather see Atlanta to be. I'd rather see Atlanta Chicago to be completely honest with you.
I think they're
So
more exciting basketball, but I,
yeah,
I do love, if I may talk about briefly, the year that Tyler Hero had with Miami is really
had a great year.
extraordinary, and
Yeah,
he's healthy. And
yep,
but honestly, the rookie of the year is probably going to be the guard, that incredible 6'6", 220 specimen at San Antonio.
right.
That kid's incredible. He's going to be an all star in the NBA for sure. But honestly, if there was anybody else, I'd have to give Kalel Ware what he's been doing since he started. If you look at his numbers and what he's putting up,
I'd be taking.
series,
Yeah, I'd take
I
Castle over Ware just for the amount of games played. Right. So
probably, I just say that
he probably doesn't qualify for the games because you got to have play 65 games. So Ware probably doesn't qualify for
no,
getting it. So,
that's a good point. I didn't look at that. You're probably right.
but I'm
Um,
with you. Like he's had a good year. The Heroes had a great year. Ware came out of nowhere for a lot of people.
yeah,
Has a nice touch. Really, pretty thin guy, but nice touch around the rim. Just smart player. I mean, and then then we have your favorite and my favorite team, the Toronto Raptors, 5 games behind the Heat. Just you know, every second night. RJ Barrett, personal reasons. Barnes, ankle.
quickly,
Quickly, he's been hurt the whole year.
Podol,
Poto. I mean,
Podol,
it's like you can't. I don't know what they're. I'll be honest with you.
Scotty Barnes.
I don't know what they're doing because you're not tanking. You're not going to
No,
get.
Trent, they're playing literally, they're playing the
Oh,
percentages.
oh, it's
They
not
want to
happening.
keep they want to keep
I
their
get it, but
first round draft pick that stays in the top 6.
yeah,
That's
I
the
get.
only reason why they're doing it.
I get it. As a fan, I hate it. I
No,
don't like it.
honestly, it's an effing joke, man. And I swore I think 3 times already this episode. I apologize.
Yeah.
But I'm so fucking tired of this bullshit, man. And I'm not the only one out there. This is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
It's such a detriment to the league in a positive way and the fans.
Yep.
People that are paying money and buying popcorn and drinks and parking and going out, and
Yep.
it just needs to be we got to find a solution here.
Yeah.
This is not working.
Nope. So, and then you got the Nets, the Sixers, the Hornets, and the Wizards. I mean, we don't really.
This is where people stop watching.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about them because people will unsubscribe if we talk about them too much.
If they're still watching, by the way, this is not recorded live. I just
So, and then Western Conference, obviously OKC. I mean, Houston's right there. Houston, Denver, Lakers, Memphis, and Golden State. Well, Golden State, Minnesota, and the Clippers. And well, I guess I would even go from the Lakers, from the 4 spot to the 8 spot is only 3 games difference for those 5 teams. Any of those 5 teams. The one team, and how you talked about Atlanta, I would feel the same way about the Clippers if they get through in the play-in.
how did you
They're
know? I
playing.
was thinking. How did you know I was thinking that?
I would just think about that. I watched. I've got to see a couple of their games lately, and man, they play really good team basketball. It's not just James Harden dribbling, standing there dribbling
It's
the
the
basketball.
best basketball
Magic
I've ever
back,
seen the Clippers play, the
yeah.
franchise
Like
ever.
Kawhi Leonard playing every game. Harden,
Unbelievable.
Norman Powell having a great year.
Yeah.
Zubac is just like top
Zubac's
five.
key, man. Him and Harden are the key.
Can't believe the Lakers traded
Eh,
that guy.
Oh,
Good job, LeBron's. Great trade. Good way to get
terrible
that.
trade, terrible. But
Um,
you know what? Go. So you're skipping the top 6 teams because
Well,
you think
no,
they're
I
going to
just
stay.
said 6 to start with, and then but I'm just saying between number 4, who's the Lakers at 45 wins, number 8 is the Clippers with 42. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5 teams within 3 games there. Obviously,
Okay,
OKC is the best team.
okay. Let's look at it this way. The last 10 games, Denver's 5-5. They've had
Right.
issues. Jokic's been injured.
Yep.
Continuity, no depth.
Yep.
Lakers injury, five and
Yep.
five.
Yep.
Memphis fired coach, injuries, 4-6.
Yep.
And then you got Dallas Mavericks who finally are coming back.
Yep.
They could make a late push because they're getting all of their bigs back and they're getting
Yep.
all of their guards back.
Yep.
And if they go on a run and win, sort of, they go on a 6-1.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they're there for sure. Yep.
and what they're fighting for playing, obviously.
Yeah,
Sacramento Kings are toast, Phoenix toast, Portland toast. But if you look at the Clippers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Golden State Warriors have been playing crazy basketball. The
yeah,
Warriors, they're
yeah.
all 7-3.
Yep.
They're the only three teams on the upside, except for
Yeah.
the top two teams that
Yeah.
are 9-1,
9-1. Yeah.
Oklahoma and Houston. And
Houston, man.
the fact that Houston's second is
Yeah.
fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's great. It is unreal.
Crazy. Like
Great job.
who?
Great coaching job. I mean, come on. That's
Well, it's also to the GM, like getting the
yeah,
right
that
players at
too.
the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
time, and they're also young and they play incredible defense, man.
Yep. Yeah, they get after it.
Yeah,
Um,
very interesting team. Very
yeah.
interesting. The West is fascinating,
The
man.
thing is, the Kings and I mean, I don't even know who's going to get. I'm rooting for. I mean, I don't know if they're tanking because they're so young, so you can't tell. I'd love to see Portland overtake Phoenix and Sacramento and get the 10th spot in the play-in. I mean, but I don't think they want
I,
that.
I
Obviously,
don't.
like you said, draft
Well, I
picks.
I don't think they. I don't think they're good enough.
I don't think they're good enough either. And then, I mean, I don't
They've
know.
been playing better, but I just
Nuggets with the injuries, I think that's kind of troubling. Going, I would be for them personally. They should not be worried about home court. They have a good enough team. They have experience. They need to rest that guy. That guy needs a break. I mean, and you want to talk about when we were talking about Cooper Flag, putting him into a box type of who you could compare it, like a couple players. Well, I was thinking about this the other night after you and I were talking a bit when I sent you that video of that Jokic pass behind the back.
oh,
That and Brooke Lopez is standing there like it was 420 kind of
it's just
thing. Like
like
no
he
idea.
did the way it goes. Boop.
And then
It's like
the Euro step 3/4 one hander was all net.
it's just the
He is
guy's just
that guy is you want to bring up Larry Bird? I always said he's kind of like the 7-foot Larry Bird. He's
there's
Larry Bird and Magic Johnson combined.
honestly, I think he's created
Unbelievable. He is
his
unreal.
own.
So
He's
fun to watch. Oh,
on the closest guy I can think of is Sabonis in his prime.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, yeah.
The only guy. It's the only guy I can think of because there is. I think the Joker stands the test of time alone on his own pedestal because I don't think
Yeah,
anybody else has ever been like this guy.
yeah. I've never. He's unreal.
He
He's
what he's doing in the last 4 years or 5 years is extraordinary, bro, and
42nd pick. 42nd pick.
unbelievable. I remember I saw a photo of him when
Unreal.
he was like 11 years
Sure.
old, when he
Yeah,
was a
he's a little
kid sitting
package.
on bench in a basketball outfit, and he looks like he just ate like a dozen jelly rolls, and he's
He just looked like
exhausted.
he just looked like he ate a Jokic.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and he's having the sugar sweats right now,
Yeah,
and he's
and
like hoping the coach doesn't put him in.
nobody's gonna mess with him because they see his two Serbian gangster brothers waiting in the back, like for him, so he doesn't get any grief. Like when I got to listen to the Morris brothers, like, oh yeah,
Hey,
we're gonna get payback. Yeah, you're not doing shit.
don't
So
don't mess don't mess with any of the Eastern Bloc
Serbian
coaches.
gangsters, man. Oh yeah.
Don't mess with any of them.
So in the play-in game, you got in the play-in right now, you got Minnesota, the Clippers, the Mavs, and the Kings. So which two out of those four? I'll go first on this one.
Okay.
I'm with you on the Mavs. You're still not getting Kyrie back, so the guard plays
No.
okay, not great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you get all those
Oh, but
bigs
they
back.
got depth. They got depth.
Yeah, you got depth. But you know what? Both the Clippers and both Minnesota and LA are big as well. I
Yeah.
would take Minnesota and the Clippers
Yeah.
right now. Out of those four.
You see
So
Rudy, what he did last night?
yeah,
He just went
yeah,
nuts.
crazy.
He just shut it
So
down. He shut the
ever
whole rim down.
since Mike Conley came back, they seem to have played better. They really have. They've actually seemed to hit a nice little spurt since he came back. He doesn't put up huge numbers,
No.
but the veteran presence at point guard, the offense gets run how it's supposed to. The ball goes to where it's supposed to.
Yeah.
All of a
Yeah.
sudden, that rhythm comes back when you have that person, right? And I mean,
And not to forget the other people that are really one of the reasons why they are playing well. And now that they've got, like, you have to look at their small forward, power forward who came out
yeah,
of nowhere and
yeah,
is having a record year.
agreed.
He's had a tough 3 or 4 games in the
Yeah,
last five, but he is still dynamic. And really, what it was is about the power forward coming back in and taking over and playing well and finding a comfort zone. And I think he's found that.
Julius.
Julius, exactly. And that's really important. And then to have Julius and the big man, the big Frenchman, what he did last night, he doesn't need to do anything else.
No,
Julius, and then you got now he's coming off the bench. You've got Elvis,
Yep.
right? Their lead superstar. I call him Elvis because I don't like the Ant Man. I think it's a crap nickname, but he's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And having someone as grounded and pragmatic and a veteran presence like Conley is excellent because did and Vincenzo coming in off the bench as well is
Yep.
really important.
Yep.
So I think they're really coming, and then Nas. I think
Yep.
honestly, Chris Finch has figured out they're at the right time at the right place, and
They're
I would
gelling.
not want to play them
Yep. I'm with you.
if they get past the in tournament, they win. I wouldn't want to play them in the first round. I'm telling you that
Yep.
right now.
They're big, they can score, and like I said, it's amazing what one guy, just having a veteran, can change. Again, these
Yeah,
guys, I know people think you just get to run up and down. Yeah, you like to play that way, but when the offense has to be run, you have to have a guy who knows where the ball's supposed to go, the
yeah,
timing of it, and all that. And that's what that guy does. He just kind of brings some calmness to them
yeah,
because they have all these other athletes. And with the Julius Randle thing, like we talked about at the start of the season, Carl Anthony Towns, that trade looked great for New York because of
yeah,
how Randall was playing. Well, guess what?
yeah.
As you just said, they're kind of gelling it right at the right time. Them and the Clippers being in the play-in, I don't want to play either of those two teams right
And
now.
I agree with you,
I'd
Trent.
rather play the
Honestly,
Clippers over the T Wolves, to be totally
I
honest.
would I would go and I'm just going to cop. I'm going to mirror yours. I'm going to say obviously the way I spoke of Minnesota and the
Yep.
Clippers. I agree. I think both of them are dangerous, but do not sleep. If something
Yeah.
happens, the Mavericks
Yeah.
they could put a late push together here with all their bigs back, or at least two of the three,
Right.
and they've got enough depth right now and continuity. And um, there's a couple of guys that have played so well and all these injuries that he's walked into probably a 50 to 60 million dollar
Yep.
4 year contract. And you
Yep.
know who I'm talking about, not the gunner in Dallas, who has just been playing out of his freaking mind, man.
Spencer.
Who?
Spencer Dinwiddie.
No, no, Dinwiddie is not. Dinwiddie has not been playing as well
Oh,
as Najee
he's
Marshall,
definitely,
man.
oh, Najee Marshall. Yeah, he's kind of went off here. He
He
definitely played
kinda,
himself.
kinda. He went.
Yeah.
He was doing what Norman Powell was doing before
Yeah,
he got
no,
injured.
he definitely played himself into a big contract here.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Oh. I mean, he kept them in the running for
Agreed.
what they're doing with the big trade and
And
everything. So kudos got to be because I almost picked him up. I picked him up on one of my teams, and
yeah.
I rode him because he went nuts, man. He was
Is
averaging 28
is
points a game for
Davis
over eight
back
nine
now?
games. What's that?
Did Davis play the other night?
Yeah,
Okay, so they got him back, and Gabbard's supposed to play tonight.
tonight.
Yeah.
And
But yeah,
Lively apparently is coming back
yeah.
in the next couple of
And then
days.
you have the bottom five in that side. We're not going to spend a lot of time, but the one
No,
team
no,
we can
no.
track is the Phoenix Suns. You guys suck.
Boy,
You
boy.
guys are horrible. What a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kevin Durant, for proving my point about
Oh, don't blame it on
being
Kevin
a
Durant.
passenger and not a bus driver, as Charles Barkley would say. Thank
Trent is
you.
Kevin
Period.
Durant.
I love Kevin Durant. I was a
Oh,
big Kevin
maybe now
Durant
you
fan
do.
coming
You
out of
never liked
college.
him before.
No, I did so. I was a big fan of Kevin Durant coming out of college. The, the, my again, when it comes to basketball,
You and Brooke
fandom,
used to slag
no, the only
Durantula
no,
so
no, no, no.
much, man.
It's not Durantula. That's a stupid name. It's the Grim. It's the Slim Reaper. That's a
Well,
great
I
nickname.
don't like either one of them myself.
Slim Reaper is a great nickname.
Yeah, it
But
is for him. Yeah,
I was when it comes just to basketball fandom, I tell a couple other friends of mine, I don't root for them. I don't root for him necessarily, but that guy's super fun to watch.
yeah.
Probably top 10 bucket getter of all time. That guy can get a basket
He's
from
turning
any place.
37. Look at the way he plays.
But the big thing for me with him was I just he had such opportunity to do something in Oklahoma City. They blew a 3-1 lead, and then he changes and instead of going to a team to compete, he goes to a team who just set a record for season wins and beat them in the playoffs. That's where he goes to get championships. And what have you
Yeah.
done since then, Kevin? Zero. Zero, nada, nothing.
Well, I'm
And
glad you
Charles
had this
Barkley said,
opportunity at the end
"You're
of the
the
show
greatest
to get that
passenger
up.
of all time.
I'm
Great
glad you
player,
had to
greatest
get.
passenger of all time."
I'm glad you had the opportunity to get that off
Perfect.
your rather large chest,
That's right.
and
I had enough
uh,
of
and I'm glad you did it. You must feel better.
and your
And
boy Bradley Beal too. That
I
guy,
can't stand Bradley Beal.
favorite player.
However,
Love
I'm a
it.
huge Kevin Durant fan, and I'm just trying to figure out where he's going. Is he going to the Knicks?
Yeah, who knows, man?
If he goes to the Knicks, they win a championship.
He'll go. He'll go. He'll sign with Clutch Sports and play with LeBron's. so they can win in the Lakers or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that either, actually.
Yeah, great, great for basketball.
Yeah, I don't mind. Hey, but almost at an hour and 14, hour and 15. It went by really quick. Very good show. Lots of content. Apologize for the extra minutes, but hey,
Yeah,
maybe some of you will still be watching by the end of the show. I don't know. But in the meantime, episode 21 with the co host of the most, Mr. Trent Rowley.
yeah,
And my name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show. This is the second iteration of the Canadian Bro Show. The first iteration of the Canadian Bro Show is all things Canadian with Pauly and Johnny. We've just finished 35 episodes.
yeah.
Wow, congratulations. Yeah, it's pretty impressive in 9 months. And we're doing interview series right now. We just had Bobby Nash on, a very prolific writer and actor, and a lot of fun, very entertaining. He really enjoyed it, which is important for our guests to enjoy. And we have lots of things coming in the meanwhile, but thanks kindly for watching. On behalf of Trent and myself, I just want to say peace, love, and happiness, health out there, everybody. Please be kind, be generous, be friendly. It's free, it's easy. You'll make somebody's day. And thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed the content, we look forward to seeing you next week. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, Trent, as always, thank you kindly for your wit, raconteur, intelligence, and charm.
Yep.
And those cheeks, my God. And Trent does not wear makeup, and nor will he ever in public. In
And
the
you.
meantime, we'll see you next week with the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball with the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Raleigh. Take care. Peace.